Okay, thank you very much for a really nice introduction. Actually, as you mentioned, that I'm the president of the founding president of Institute for Basic Science. This is fairly young, only less than 2 years old, and we are trying to become one of the premier basic science research in the world, like Max Planck weekend in the near future. And somebody, actually Peter Fuller, is helping us quite a lot. And in this session, the title is Innovation Precursors, Basic Science and Fundamental Technology. So I thought I should actually try to say something on the importance of basic science in our knowledge-based society and the situation in Korea. So my talk will be, at first, I will discuss knowledge-based society and environmental change, the general terms, how the environment of the world changes as we go into the 21st century. And then I will talk about the major issues in Korea, whether we are coping with the change effectively or not. And then as one of the strategy to become competitive in the 21st century, the Korean government decided to start International Science Business Belt program, in which Institute for Basic Science is the main core institute. And the theme and the purpose of this project is that we will make new knowledge and new growth agent for Korea through basic science and fundamental technology research. So I'm trying to introduce to you what we are trying to do, and then I close this talk. So first, we all know that 21st century is knowledge-based society, and a lot of things have changed. So and in it, we realize that the basic science is no longer free commodity. And every nation who wants to become competitive should be very far advanced in basic science, and also the talent, the intelligent people are very important for this task. So, okay, now the source of competitiveness of business has been changing from the tangible asset like labor or capital or factory and things like that to intangible assets. So if you look at this figure here, the market value of S&P 500 in 1985, only 32% of the total value was intangible, whereas 68% was tangible asset. But in 2005, 20 years later, we found that 80% of the assets is intangible, and only 20% is tangible. So it means that, for example, if you look at the asset of the Apple, the total market value is supposed to be 193 billion, and 90% of that is intangible asset like IP. So they don't have factories, land, or anything like that. They do have, but it's a very small portion of their asset. So most of them are intangible asset. And also the portion of IP, intellectual property within intangible asset. Intangible assets includes something like brand value and things like that. But in the IP, it's supposed to be about half of the intangible asset. And the royalty and license fee increased quite rapidly. So that tells you in the business world, the intangible asset is very important. And also, as a result, very frequently, a dispute concerning intellectual property occurs, and the patents. And one very famous example, everybody probably knows in this room should know that Samsung and Apple are still engaged in a very fierce battle lawsuit about the patents. And in the 90s, there's a famous example of Kodak and Polaroid. The Kodak lost a lawsuit, and then the Kodak actually dismissed on the 700 because of that. So that tells you IP is very important asset these days. And to intellectual property like patents, how do you get the really important patents? And it has been realized gradually that basic research is very important, and it's becoming more so because the time from the lab to the project becomes very short. And it was found that more than 70% of the 70% of US industrial patents have reference articles resulting from government-funded basic research. So that the company that has a good IP and intellectual property have a very large profit margin, like Apple in the first quarter of last year, they had a net profit ratio of 30%, 9%. Samsung was 11%, and LG Electronics, they make huge refrigerators, air conditioners, and all that, but their profit ratio is only 2%. So you need good intellectual property to become really competitive and also make a good profit. So people say that basic research is no longer free public property, so it's really considered as valuable resource to each country. And that's why Korea is trying to build up the basic science capability, and also IP. For IP, basic research is very important, but also good people, talented people is very important. And there were McKinsey has called the 21st century as the era of talent growth. Each country will try to attract good talents. That changed the global competition to recruit of top talents to be intensified. And you know that the China and even the United States have some initiative. China has a program to recruit global experts, and they call it Chenindae. They will recruit 1,000 very talented people from abroad and build up the economy. So creativity, basic science, and innovation is all important, and that we have to rely on good talents. Now, so much said that this is the global environment we are facing. Now, how did North Korea cope with that? Korea has been economically developing quite rapidly in the last 50 years or so, largely thanks to what we call catch-up strategy. We look at the advanced countries and what they do, and then we just try to mimic or copy or improve their technologies and do it very fast, and then make a commercial product to be competitive in the world market. And that has been very successful, so that we were catching up to advanced countries very rapidly. But we see now signs that strategy doesn't work anymore. For example, the GDP growth rate of Korea has been declining steadily. So Korea has been the GDP growth rate was going up over around 10% up to 1980, and then it slows down gradually. And in contrast, China is still going up, and the potential, even the potential growth rate has been declining. And in 2010, it is supposed to be 3% or 2 or 3%. So Korea now entered this low economic growth era, as other advanced countries are. But in terms of the R&D, the competitiveness of the country mostly come from the science technology, and to make science technology flourish, countries should invest a lot of money, a lot of R&D fund. And in fact, Korea has been very good at it. So Korea, even though the size of Korea, economic size, only 10 or 11 in the world, in absolute terms, the amount of money Korea spends on R&D is 6th in the world. So you can see US, China, Japan, China, Germany, France, and Korea. We are ahead of UK, ahead of Sweden. And in terms of the R&D money compared to GDP, we are second in the world. We are about 4%, so we are just behind Israel, which spends about 4.4% of the GDP to R&D. So Korea has been investing a lot of money to science technology, and thanks to that, if you look at the statistics, the outcome has been also increasing very steadily. For example, if you look at the number of the papers in SSCI articles, Korea has been was ranked 53rd in 1980, and 30 years later, we are ranked in the 11th. It's comparable to our economic size. And government also invests a lot of money on R&D, so it's definitely increasing really by about 10% in the last 5 years or so. This is probably second to China, so we are investing a lot of money. But then, but still, we see some weaknesses. For example, the average time cited per paper, which implies the quality of the paper, is only 30th in the world. So it's even below the world average. And also, we don't have Nobel Prize winners. And that tells you that we are making outputs in quantitative terms very nicely, but we don't make really qualitative excellent outcomes, our R&D. And for the applied technologies like the patents, the same story goes that we file a lot of patents. We ranked 4th or 5th in the world, just behind United States, Japan, China, and Germany. We are 5th in the world, and we actually surpassed France and UK in the number of patents filed and awarded in the United States or PCT. And the level of technology is still going up. But if you look at the revenues in patent royalties in 2010, we have a lot of deficit. Actually, it's 4th in the world. And the deficit in international trade is still increasing. So if you just sum up the whole situation, we are making a lot of progress in terms of quantitative aspects, but we are not doing very well in quality. And so, I mean, that probably reflects our strategy that we are trying to become an advanced country by catch-up strategy. That we just look at whatever advanced countries do and try to mimic and improve that the technology, and then get some profit. One clear example is probably the cell phone, the Galaxy, smartphone. Apple made the first smartphone, but now Galaxy, Samsung took over in the first in the world market. But they didn't invent it; they just mimic and just follow exactly very fast to Apple, and then take the market share. But that strategy is no longer effective, and that you can see that the reason for this that we are, although we are trying to invest a lot of money and make a lot of papers and patents, we still do not get the first quality paper, first quality patent, and all that. And so what we have to do, we need to change the paradigm of the R&D as well as economic growth. So we have to lead now the world, so that we have to cut a lot of our old habits and make a paradigm change, way of doing business, and doing research, and doing education and all that. So we want to have become an IP powerhouse, and to do that, it's clear that in 2010 or 2010, we have to be creative, and we have to invest a lot in basic research. So rather than catching up, we have to lead the world. That means we have to start from the beginning. We have to be really good at fundamental things. Now, so everybody in Korea, not everybody, but most people agree that basic science is very important. So they have to. It has been said for a long time, maybe last 10 years or so, that the Korean scientists and engineers and also governments, the scholars in the R&D strategy, they all say that we should invest more money in basic science. We are good in applied technology, industrial technology, but we are not as good in basic science. For example, we don't have Nobel laureates, not even some famous prize winners in the world. And the number of quality, you can see that the citation number is only actually below the world average. And if you look at the 1% highly cited scholars, they only can have only 10 or 15%. So it's very, the basic science is not doing very well in Korea. However, even though we have been saying this for the last 10 years, that actually old habits is die very hard. For example, government invest for each socio-economic organization. If you look at where the government invests money, to Korea invest more than 50% of total budget for economic development. That's first in the OECD country, and the second is Japan, 30%, Germany is 23%, and the other rest countries about 10 or 20%. So Korea, the government still invests a lot of money on the economic development of applied technology rather than basic science. In the United States, for example, they invest a lot of, government invests a lot of money for healthcare, public safety, and things like that, rather than the economic, the new economic industrial technology. But Korea it has been doing that still. They just follow the old pattern from the 1980s or so. And so we need to increase the portion of the basic research in the government fund. That is even true because the government in Korea, government invests only 1/4 of the total R&D funding of the country. Between 3/4 of the money, R&D money comes from private sectors. So private sectors naturally invest mostly on applied technology development. So government should focus on the areas which private fund cannot cover, like infrastructure, talent development, and public benefit, and long-term high-risk research, and basic science. And so extensive government investment research is needed. And then the many basic scientists in Korea have been saying that for a long time. And also we need to change the environment and the management style of the R&D. Actually, in the case of the catch-up R&D, you know where you're going. So even the government officials can make the target, and then since since we know it can be done, they can just manage the project. But in the leading type science and technology, you don't know where you should go, actually. And only the scientists know, good scientists know where we should go, and the government officials should not set the goal or target. But in Korea, we still much of the government funding, in the case much of government funding, government officials set the targets and they set the timetable. And so a lot of the research was done really not autonomous way, but somewhat dependent on the regulations and government will so implement that, and also very short term. So we have to make all these changes as well. Finally, actually, in the last government, the previous president, Lee Myung-bak, when he was campaigning for presidency election, he really stressed the importance of basic science. He said, okay, at that time, government, the R&D funding, the portion of basic science in the government was about 25%. He said he will increase to 35% within 5 years, and he will increase the basic research funding to support individual grants like NSF grants, 3 or 5-fold almost in 5 years, which we didn't materialize, but we managed to increase to 3-fold. So that the previous government really began to emphasize basic research, and one of the goal, the policy is to establish and operate Institute for Basic Science. This is one of the it is in a big picture is called International Science Business Program. So basic science should be linked with the business, and we will make a science business plan. But the core of it has, in the core, and the Institute for Basic Science is established in 2011, so it's about 2 years ago. And that trend of the policy was also followed by current President Korean Park, and she said we have to transform from the first fast follower to first mover, that's in her own words. And then she said the R&D expenditure compared to GDP she tried to be increased to 5% from 4% now, and then also government expenditure on basic research is now about 35%, and she will increase to 40% in her 5-year term. And then she said she will create national R&D innovation system, so it should be research friendly, and science autonomy will be respected. So all these the same theme as the previous government. So actually, the Park government, when they made up the blueprint for the 5-year term, they stressed the importance of first mover and the creative economy, and for the creative economy, they stressed this basic science, and also they support basic science. So that's the current state at the moment. And now I will introduce some what we have been done in the last 2 years, and what is our vision and what we try to do. Now, background, as I mentioned, we need to change the paradigm of R&D from the government official-driven to research-driven and research-friendly and all that. And so IBS is the Institute for Basic Science, and what we will try to do is to have a long-term, group-based and large-scale research in basic science. Now, if you look, this x-axis is the basic science, applied and development technology, And this one, the y-axis is individual small size, medium size, and the group large size. And university usually has a lot of this research, but they are usually a very small size effort. Now, Korean government has established up to now 27 government research institute for something like space, atomic energy agencies, and the railroad technology and telecommunication in every field, and those were actually classified into two. One in more oriented to technology, like telecommunication and railroad technology, fast train technology, and the other one mostly for public benefit or long-term research like space and life science and also atomic energy, nuclear energy. Those two, I think, corresponds to in German system Helmholtz Gesellschaft and the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft. But the Germans have another one, which is Max Planck Gesellschaft, and we don't have that institute. We didn't have that institute for up to now. And so we are trying to become an institute like a big Max Planck or weekend. So we are trying to do group-based long-term research in our institute. And our principal, operating principle is we try to recruit excellent scientists, top-quality scientists, and then we give them full autonomy so that they can show their creativity, and also we operate this research in an open environment. Now, the current Korean research institute mostly, I should say, very close. They would like to work within themselves, and they don't actually communicate much with the university or even industry. So the amount of funding they get from industry is less than 5% in most cases. Now, what we are trying to do is to be very open, so we will collaborate closely with the university, and so we try to give people exercise to give them full autonomy to do whatever they want to do in the long term and in an open environment. So the basic building block of our organization is what we call research center. This is the research group gathered in the same location, and we have a director who will handle the research effort, and we have what we call group leaders as well as staff scientists to make a team, and we plan to give the director the full authority to spend about $9 million per year for 10 years. So it's a long-term big project, and so we think we are imagining that the research center will have about 50 researchers in total. And then the grant plan for IBS is that by the year 2017, we have 50 such research centers. Then we will have about 3,000 staff and students. And the budget will be around $600 million. That's a lot of money, actually. So you might imagine that the most important thing is the selection or recruitment of directors, excellent scientists. So we want to have a world-leading scientists, and excellence of candidates with creativity are really the top priority. And we form the committee, selection evaluation committee, to have an in-depth review for the excellent candidates and all that. And we actually invited Peter Fulde, former Roxburgh director, who had the chairman of this SEC. And this SEC, we have now 60 members, 9 of them are from foreign countries, 7 from university area. So we try to be very international from the beginning. So we are accepting only the proposal only in English, and our institute is basically bilingual. You can speak either Korean and English in our institute, and every regulations are both duplicates in English and Korean. So the foreign scientists can come and hope that they don't feel much a problem in communicating and doing their business. And we hope that about 30% of our staff or directors will come from foreign countries. In fact, we have received about up to 150 applications, and 50 of them come from foreign countries. Some of them from Korean origin scientists working in foreign countries, and some of them are really non-Korean origin scientists. And then they should be fully committed, and they should work at least for 10 years. So up to now, in the established in 2011, November, actually that's quite late, in 2011. And in May actually, 2012, we announced the first batch of research directors, center directors, 9 of them, and we had a formal inauguration ceremony here actually, in this building. And in 2017-13, we were hoping to have 25 researchers, but now we have only 19 at the moment. And we started for 2015, and then that was the target date. But since the budget is tight, we may go a little slow. And we also should mention that we have a program of constructing radioisotope accelerator for environment to attract scientists from all over the world on nuclear physics. Okay, those are the phase of directors, but I don't want to go into details. And actually, today I signed a contract to him. He was in negotiation for a year, and finally we signed. I signed to him. He was a professor in Illinois. He got a prize both in polymer science, both in American Physical Society and American Chemical Society. He will come to Korea in the near future. And so those are the names, and this somebody here, he was the chair professor in Pittsburgh, he's an expert in MRI, and he led the center there with over 2 or 3 billion budget every year, but then he will come to Korea. So those are the names and the typical examples. So he is a Korean scientist coming from abroad, and those are non-Korean scientists. Okay, so I think I can stop here and I will make a closing remark. Okay, thank you.